ICW, ICW, ICW. ICW fans, I am the administrator of the ICW message board and original ICW fan, Robert Lottie. Respect the Game was a very awesome show from the Knights of Columbus in Richfield Park, New Jersey. Show opened up, to my surprise, with Nick Gage going one-on-one with Dan Moff. And early in the bout, Gage hit his choke breaker, and it seemed that Gage hurt his knee, and Moff eventually was like capitalizing on it and going after the knee. Gage eventually made a comeback. He ended up putting Moff through a barbed wire board. Moff eventually put Gage through a different board, and he ended up pinning him to win the match. Next, the Grim Reaper was coming to the ring for his match with Rich Swann, but Reaper was attacked from behind by Mr. Fun Size, Marco Stunt. And Marco went on a tirade and berated the crowd and gave some sights to the bird watchers. And thankfully, it looked like he was going to expose his package, and thankfully he did not. And he said he wasn't going to leave the ring till ICW gave him what he wanted. And Stunt did a dive to the floor onto Reefer after having his knee attacked. Eventually, he left the ring. Then we were set to see El Presidente Sanchez with Riley Madison go one-on-one with the debuting Jake Atlas. Just right after the introductions were made, Lionel Richie's All Night Long starts playing. And out comes Mr. All Night Long, Rich Swann, and it was made into a three-way matchup in which Rich Swann defeated El Presidente Sanchez and Jake Atlas. I sure hope ICW brings Jake Atlas back in the future. And then next up, Mr. Fun Size Marco Stunt comes out, and he demanded to get what he wanted, and to my and the funny thing is, I really thought Low Key was going to be facing Marco Stunt in this matchup, but instead Trey Songz' Bottoms Up starts playing, and out comes the cold-hearted player Dave DeMonto, who had retired late last year, and he was accompanied to the ring by Tino San Antonio. The match was on, and eventually Stunt and DeMonto, they actually went into the crowd, and DeMonto backdropped Stunt onto a board set up on chairs. DeMonto gave Stunt a Death Valley driver onto a board set up on two chairs. One of them was my seat, and that happened right in front of me, and luckily it didn't damage my binder or my bag. Ugh. Eventually, they went back to the ring, and Stunt eventually managed to pin DeMonto in a great matchup. So I don't know if DeMonto was back full-time or it was just a one-night comeback. They went to intermission at that point, and eventually they resumed the action with a great four-way matchup, which saw Jimmy Lloyd, who was accompanied to the ring by Helen Vale. Lloyd defeated Joe Gacy, the Neon Ninja Facade, and Tony Deppen. Pretty good match by these four men. Next up, we saw the notorious 187 Homicide go one-on-one with the Dirty Daddy, Chris Dickinson. And very tremendous matchup. At one point, Homicide threw Dickinson into the guardrail, and which knocked into the special lighting they had at the show, and thankfully, the quick thinking of two fans sitting by the light, they grabbed the light before it fell and tipped over and landed on everybody. Eventually, Dickinson defeated Homicide to win the match, and I forgot what they both said on the microphone afterwards. I can't remember all this, folks. Everything seems to be a blur after these shows. Next up, in a 2 out of 3 falls match, Kikutaro or Kikutaro, I apologize for if I mispronounced it. And he went on challenge freshly squeezed Orange Cassidy for the Independent Wrestling Championship. Kikutaro had the microphone and he ended up attacking Cassidy, scooped him up for a body slam, but Cassidy landed on him, and Cassidy pinned Kikutaro in the first fall. And I forgot how the second fall ended, but Cassidy ended up defeating Kikutaro to retain the championship. And then it was main event time, as we saw Daisuke Sakimoto. He defeated Eddie Kingston in a great hard-hitting contest. Sakimoto put away Kingston with a stalling German suplex. It was, even though the show had to be moved from Queens, New York, this was a typical hard-hitting, high-flying, knockdown, drag-out affair at ICW show. And I was very surprised they put Moff and Gage on first. That shows you how stacked and awesome this show was. Personal notes time. It was great seeing Jack Sabbath, Norman Alvarado, Patrice, Mike McNicholas, Mikey Mickendro, Justin, Anthony Iovino, Elliot, Omar, Bill Parham, Jason Bob 87. Who else do I remember seeing at this very event? Yeah. Well, we do have some quotes, memorable quotes. Don't play that game. Aaron Bradley, who when he saw me in playing Words with Friends at Dante's, which is not far from the building. By the way, they got great food over there. Don't hurt him so much. Fanning the crowd to Dan Moff during his match with Nick Gage. What do you want me to do? Play checkers with him? Moff in response to that fan. There was three good-looking ladies sitting right near me, and I don't know if they were shocked or astounded by the use of me using the megaphone, and it looked like they were dancing a little bit when Rich Swann was coming to the ring, and when Lionel Richie's All Night Long was playing. Jack Sabbath, man, I don't know if I sure hope you get to use the building again someday, or even if you're just going to use it as a backup plan in case something goes awry. But speaking of future shows, ICW returns to Queens, New York on Friday, September 13th. I'd like to see the following matches. Since it did not happen at Respect the Game, I'd like to see Rich Swann one-on-one with the Grim Reaper. Maybe see Sanchez one-on-one with Orange Cassidy. Jimmy Lloyd against Chris Dickinson. I forgot it was great seeing Jeff, who caught me at the Poor Authority waiting for the bus. Yeah. Glad the show ended when it did, because I didn't want to have to leave the show before it ended and to catch the final bus of the night heading back to New York City. Oh, great seeing Lawrence. I forgot about him. Who else did I see at this event that I recognized? Oh, how could I forget Carlos Suarez, who was sitting right next to me throughout this event. Oh, I got to got to wear this shirt for the first time, and I sure hope it does not shrink in the wash. And I didn't get around buying the DVDs of past ICW shows. Hopefully, in the future, I'll get to do that. Who else did I see at this event? Did I recognize? I might remember it in the end. I mean, for the fans who originally were going to go to the show that was when it was in Queens and decided not to after they moved it to Jersey, you missed a great fun show here. What else can I say that hasn't already been said? Well, great to see in the Cassidy Kikutaro match, they brought Cassidy had a bottle of orange juice that was brought into play. And I called it at one point where during the match, I think it was where Cassidy took the juice and it was like spinach to Popeye, and Cassidy oranged up, which I called right then and there when it was happening. Can't remember what else can be said about this show, but definitely great night of action. Sure can't wait to come back on Friday, September 13th. And I guess I can end it with ICW, ICW, ICW. I forgot, yeah, we had a great crowd with us too. I did mention those three good-looking ladies sitting near me earlier, but like the whole crowd was pretty much into this event. So hopefully, if any new fans were garnered, hopefully they'll be back for future ICW events. Any fans that from Jersey that experienced the product for the first time. And I forgot to mention, this was actually ICW's first show in the state of New Jersey in years, and over a decade. So hope everybody enjoyed this video, and again, ICW, ICW, ICW.